We perform human sacrifices by proxy, you might say, the destruction of human beings who would, let's say, create an antagonistic situation towards us in the form of curses and hexes. Not in actual blood rituals, because certainly the destruction of a human being physically is illegal. But we feel that the sacrifice should be a deserving one. We don't chop up babies or cut the heads off of cats or chickens or goats. We feel that this is another example of the sanctimonious hypocrisy of those who call themselves witches, warlocks, white magicians, who have practiced these things for centuries.
Well, his one neighbor, when we was in court there, he testified that he had put a spell on his little girl. He said that his little girl was sick, and it was due to Mr. Lovell had a spell on him.
Well, it always works. There's no doubt in my mind that it's not going to work. I mean, we just say, make something happen, it happens.
They say he charged from $200 to $300 for this. But if it's good luck, he put it on you, and if it's spell, if he get mad, he can turn it into a spell.
They claim to cause the cliff house, which was being wrecked, to burn up. But that is after the event. No, I'm not afraid that he's put any hex on me. I put one on him, though. And my hex on him is that I hope he begins to believe himself. If he does, sooner or later he'll be penned up.
I don't know too much about it, but I have seen boa constrictors. In fact, I'm really a little leery of snakes, but I think I touched one at a junior museum once. And there were, in fact, I thought it was kind of, they called this particular one Julius Squeezer. And, you know, they're really kind of harmless. So, I mean, if she wants a boa constrictor around her, I mean, that's all right.
The paintings are a collection of, most of them are my own, and many of them were given to me as gifts by other people who thought that they were not good enough for their own houses, or at least they'd frighten their neighbors or something. So they passed them on to me. I've got a lot of rejects, white elephants of other people's. And so naturally I'm very appreciative, because most of the things other people wouldn't have in their homes are the things that I seem to wind up with in mine. Most of the objects of art in the paintings are gifts or things that have been donated along the line, but the paintings that I've done are inspired pretty much through either article stories that I've read, fascinating dreams that I've had, nightmare visions, and my own ideas for plots, for perhaps situations and events. So you might say they do have stories. They're not just purely abstract. I would say these things like the skulls, the tombstones, the coffins, any of these various objects of art are memento moris, are just symbols of death. These do not imply in any way that we're the least bit eager to die or have any sort of Freudian death wish. On the contrary, these are constant reminders that death is around the corner, and death doesn't present a better than what we have now world. Death presents a negation of many of the pleasures of the flesh, and certainly most of them. And so we feel that the more things that can remind us of this, the more inspired we are to live each day to its fullest. Well, as far as the torture implements go, these things, we must remember, at one time were not simply torture implements, they were evangelical persuaders. And most of these things are from the Inquisition, and this type of device was known as a holy water sprinkler at one time, and also called a morning star. And so these things represent man's inhumanity to man, but also represent something to the Satanist much more important than that, that right is based on might, and the victor, whether they're right or whether they're wrong idealistically, is always considered right. The tombstone was a gift from a mortician, a man in the mortuary profession, and it's quite old. It serves as a coffee table. The dental chair and barber chair combination was also a gift, of course used during the period when dentists and barbers were pretty much one and the same. The reproduction of the outer lid of the sarcophagus of King Tut was given to me. It was made by a member of the congregation and given to me for the purposes of enhancing rituals that would be of an Egyptian nature or origin. The stone, or the mantle which holds the altar, was made from cobblestones from the San Francisco streets that were broken up in the 1906 earthquake. Little did it, I'm sure, become aware to the stonemason that it would be used for the purposes that it is today.
Probably some of the clergy are jealous of him. There was the memorable incident of the red head on the altar, sans clothing and so forth. He was not the first one to think of this. A clergyman in New York in Greenwich Village had a blonde on the altar, and there remains for some enterprising soul to think of a brunette.
What would your parents say about that?
If I got up on the altar?
Yeah.
I think I would die, but I'd love to do it. Isn't that terrible?
Fantastic.
I'm glad that's not happening. I think if there was a need for it. I mean, I'm not the type. I don't look like the type for a nude altar. I mean, usually their nude altars are usually, like, they like to have them light-haired and voluptuous and big and fat. And I mean, that just isn't me.
My girlfriend is built. I mean, she has an unbelievable figure. In fact, she does not look good in clothes. She's a little bit too well endowed. And one of the priests that he has keeps offering her, you know, a job at the altar. And every time she gets, we go down to this, every time she gets a little loaded, she keeps saying, I want to do it. Let me do it.
I think every home should have its own altar. Really. Everyone needs a satanic altar. Well, I think my altar days are over.
Well, I had a man come to me the other day, and he said that it was just terrible. When he joined the Satanic Church, he was masturbating just about every day. And now he's masturbating 2 and sometimes 3 times a day. And he's very happy, much happier than he's ever been before. That's
last week, too, on top of that. He was really talking about me.
I think masturbation has been really a tabooed subject of all time, and I think we should mention it a little. Lenore, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I taught my son to masturbate.
Night games, huh?
Well,
Games to play. Well, mostly because he was getting pimples, and we started talking about it, and I told him why he was having pimples and this type of thing. Well, at first he didn't go along with the idea. He insisted that I buy him these patent things, you know, that you rub on your face, and they weren't doing any good. And I told him if he continued to pop the pimples, that's what he called the popping, then he'd end up with acne scars and girls wouldn't like him. And so I refused absolutely to buy him these concoctions he wanted to put on his face. And I told him that if he didn't start masturbating and doing it regularly, he was just going to have to put up with the pimples. And he didn't say anything about it. He didn't say yes or no, but the pimples are gone.
This is quite a switch, because in my day, this is a thing that caused pimples.
I mean, nothing to do with your day.
I guess things change, you know.
And then there was
masturbating.
that night that Lenore brought her son to a party,
Yeah.
which was sort of open to, you know, family of the church. And he was being kind of a bad boy or something. I don't know what he was doing, being sassy or irritable or something. And she said, "What's the matter, Pericles? Haven't you masturbated today?"